Bitcoin, pump, altcoins, pump. I've been preparing for this. Can't nobody tell me nothing.
What's up, everybody? We're going to be getting going here in just a couple minutes. We got the market is starting to chop it up in a good way, pushing up to that upper bound. We've got to talk about what's going on in this market because I think these last opportunities to get these deals at these prices to change your life, man, this is about to evaporate soon. For all of you that have been stacking into this market, we are getting ready to absolutely melt this to the upside. Let me go ahead and turn on the countdown. We're going to be getting going here in just a second. Everybody, if you're watching on YouTube or Twitter, head over to my Twitter at Kellam, at KELOY, Make sure you hit that retweet, hit that like button, and let's get this out to as many people as possible. I'm just doing this right now on BitLab Academy. There we go. And we got some great charts to show today. We got our boy Crypto Danks is going to be in the house here in a little bit, about 11:45, 11:50 or so. But we got some things we got to look at. We're going to talk about it all. We're going to be getting into the grit here on what's going on in this market. So everybody, let's get some tunage playing. Let's talk. Everybody, if you are live right now, if you're in the live chat on YouTube, let me know. Are you in any trades right now? Did you pick up anything over the weekend? Did you just sit on your hands like our girl Alexandra G? It's okay to not take a trade every second. You do not need to take a trade if you're not confident on what is happening with that trade. Now, everybody that's been stacking, we are about to ride this rocket ship to the top. So with that being said, let's get some tunage playing. Let's vibe. Let's go.
Bitcoin, pump, altcoins, pump. I've been preparing for this. Can't nobody tell me nothing. Bitcoin, pump, altcoins, pump. I've been preparing for this. Can't nobody tell me nothing. Bitcoin, pump, altcoins, pump. I've been preparing for this. Can't nobody tell me nothing. Bitcoin, pump, altcoins, pump. I've been preparing for this. Can't nobody tell me nothing. SEC and its policies rely on whatever Gary thinks. Bitcoin to flight to quality. I heard that from Larry Fink. Every hour losing purchasing power on foolish out there. It's not our fault. Blame the cult. It's the political cowards. When it comes to gas, our purchasing power just got cut in half. I sit back and laugh, open my bag, fill it with stacks and sats. Bitcoin, pumping, altcoins, pumping. I've been preparing for this. Can't tell me nothing.
And I believe crypto will play that type of role as a flight to quality. We are hearing from clients around the world.
Bitcoin, pumping, altcoins, pumping. I've been preparing for this.
And I believe crypto will play that type of role as
Bitcoin, pumping, altcoins, pumping.
We are hearing from clients around the world.
Can't nobody tell me nothing.
Crypto, depending on how you think about it. And I believe crypto will play that type of role as a
Can't nobody tell me nothing. Bitcoin, pumping.
We are hearing from clients around the world.
Prepare for this.
It's time to jump in this market, everybody. Let's get it going. Drop a 1 in chat if you're ready. If you're watching on Twitter or YouTube, make sure you head over to Twitter and hit that retweet. You will be entered to win. We've got to talk about these markets, so let's dive in. What's up, everybody? Good morning, good afternoon, good night. How you doing? These markets over the weekend, a little bit of chop, leaning towards the bullish side. This reversal is still in order, and we've gotten a wonderful price action right now. The altcoin's been seeing some very nice moves, but we got to talk about what's going on in these charts because when we're looking at it, we're seeing that nice move that we outlined on Friday with this potential head and shoulders kind of move that's coming in here, showing the bears attempt, stronger attempt, weaker attempt, now yet even weaker attempt from the bears. And what do we say when we're looking at the price action? We're trying to find that battle. We're trying to look at the narrative that is going between the bulls and the bears. If the bears are getting weaker, then that means the bulls are stacking into their about to break out of that cage. So if this is your first time here, welcome to the show, everybody. My name's Kellam. I'm about to break down some of these things in the chart. We got our boy Crypto Danks popping in here a little bit. We're going to be talking about the charts. We're going to be talking about some trades. We're going to be talking about some signals, but we got some things to look at. So let's dive into it. Before we actually get this underway, let me actually pull this up. I am not prepared, but that's okay. Before we get into this, make sure you come here on my page right here at Kellam. Of course, remember, there's only one of me, but there's about 150 fake accounts out there. So make sure you're looking for that blue check and the correct spelling. But hit that retweet button, hit that like button, get the word out there, hit the like button on this stream, show some love, and let's dive into what we want to talk about. Remember, beginning of last week, I think it was, we were up at $2.32 trillion for the crypto market. It dropped down to about 2.04, and now we're back up another almost $200 billion in this crypto market. And we're seeing Bitcoin still hovering around this $64,000 mark. Ethereum's under 2,500. It actually dropped a little further. You could see this on the 7-day chart right here. And now it's trying to find a little bit of an equilibrium. BNB sitting here 575. Solana just under $150. XRP still holding above that 50-cent mark. Is it going to break down and break hearts, or is it going to have the bulls finally come in? For me, I just don't have conviction on it. If you're holding it, more power to you. But I'm looking for something that's not enamored with all of the bearishness like XRP. It just cannot catch a break. Dogecoin sitting here at about 11.2 cents. Tron 15.5, 15.6 now. Toncoin starting to see nothing really. Look at this. It's just been working its way to the downside, down to almost 9.5% in the last 7 days. Cardano getting a little bit of a bounce here. Avalanche getting a little bit of a bounce here. But we don't care about this just general overview. We want to see what's going on, and I'm about to break it down with you. So let's look at what's going on. I shared this yesterday, and I think this is very important. Everything that's going on in the world right now, it's all more dire than you realize. The banks are not in a good position. They're in exponentially worse position than we saw in the lead up and the wake of the Great Recession in 2008, the housing crisis that essentially led a lot of, basically the mortgage-backed securities. And it was such a catastrophic event in the economy. And when you look at the position that the banks are in right now, it's so much worse than we've ever seen. And so the only thing you can do right now, the prices are not going to go back to what they were pre-pandemic. Life is only getting more expensive unless you are investing. And it doesn't only have to be Bitcoin. You could be invested in Vanguard and Nvidia and Apple and all these other things as well. But when you look out into the future, for me, the only answer is Bitcoin. And you know what? If you don't have any idea what to do, Bitcoin, baby. And you are here on BitLab Academy. We are here to talk about it. I'm here to make sure I can keep you on the right side of the trend, give you meaningful tools, content, resources, and an empowering community, because that's what this is all about. So just remember this. When everything's going on in the world, and it's not just the U.S., it is exponentially more difficult almost everywhere else in the world, probably other than Dubai, in terms of a currency basis. And it's because of the devaluing of those fiat systems. So just remember this as we go through all of our charts. When you go through your day, just consider what is happening right now. Now, what's going on? What's going to get us to that next phase in the market? Well, looking here, only 1 week into October so far, and China ETFs have beaten their all-time monthly flow records. Feeding frenzy in effect. Will it last, though, or is it just a short-term sugar high? No one knows. And this goes back to what we've been talking about for the last many months. Really, honestly, since I started this channel, January of last year. We're coming up on 2 years this January. I've already got about 57,000 of you that have joined this community, and I love you. I appreciate you. We are here to do this together. But when we consider what we've seen, and I got some charts that you're going to love here. Shout out to Token Tide Temptress gifting out 5 memberships here to the channel. You get access to the member streams that we do, and we're doing I think we did 4 or 5 last week. So big love to you, Token Tide, for getting that gift train rolling. I appreciate you. And shout out to all the members. Let's get the members, everybody that's a member there, you got a beaker next to your name. Let's see you drop some of your favorite emojis. Let's get this popping right now. Shout out to everybody that's in the house. We've got about 173 people watching right now, and I'm sure we're going to have about a couple hundred more pop in here in just a few minutes. So everybody hit that like button. But this right here is what I expect to be people trying to front run the next phase and that global liquidity injection that is surely coming in. We saw last week, the week leading up to last week, they already had $1.426 trillion increase, basically injection into the global liquidity. So if this is going to follow every pattern it's done every 4 years in history that we've been tracking, especially since Bitcoin's been around, global liquidity injections always front run. Basically, they are, I don't want to say a leading indicator, but they happen prior to Bitcoin having its next move. And we're on that swing right now. We are about to have the most explosive Bitcoin and crypto bull cycle we've ever seen. Is it going to have the same gains as 2013? No, but on a risk-adjusted basis, with how much foundation we have with institutions and banks and governments, this is the best time in history to be involved in this market. So continuing on here, what do we see? Well, first off, institutions are reducing their Bitcoin short positions. So that downward pressure that we've had in the markets is starting to evaporate. This all comes in a time where we're about 171 days post-halving, which was April 19th. And as I mentioned on April 19th in a chart that I shared here on YouTube, on this channel, but also in the BitLab Academy, but also on my Twitter, I was looking for roughly 160 to 170 days before we would likely see any meaningful upside in price action. So we've hit that date threshold, which if you look at the chart that I was sharing, we outlined it. It's this bar right here. If we double click here, let's go to the 3-day chart. This is a time basis that this basically box that I outlined, and it had to do with this metric, which was the post-halving metric. Where are we at now? Let's see. Let's get this to where we're at now. So yeah, 171 days. 171 days, and we are within this box that I was saying, well, likely if we're going to get the breakout, similar to what we've seen in the previous cycles, it's going to be somewhere in this region. We're into October now. I shared it last week. Let's actually pull it up. It's this chart right here with this, boom. So everybody was wondering, October 1st, October's canceled. We're not going to have the pump. It's done. But this was 2023. We had a 7.4% crash into a massive pump that resulted in 29% from the top. If you measure this from the bottom, it's about 33% pump to the upside. But it took about the first 10 days, 13 days of October, and then down, and then boom, explosive. What are we seeing right now? We had this move October 1st, and I did this obviously on October 4th. We had a 5.5% move, and everybody thought it was over. Patience, Danielson, patience. So we know we're getting global liquidity. We know the short positions are starting to get removed. The time, the basis, the fundamentals, the liquidity, everything is in line right now. Also, we have the election coming up. Everything's in line for a very bullish quarter four, just so long that we don't have some catastrophic, I'm not saying ongoing tensions like we're having in the Middle East, but so long as we don't have a catastrophic escalation beyond what people can predict. That's what a black swan is, not something that you can predict and it no. So right now, things are still looking incredible for this market. Now, continuing on, and Quentin shared so many good charts today. It feels like the Quentin show, but this is that global liquidity that we're talking about. This is a coiling up right here, global liquidity up, and look at where this lines. This is GMI, Global Money Index, and look at this. This is where we start. Same thing right here, breakout. We had COVID, but then look at this massive uptick in the amount of global liquidity. This front ran this next move to the upside. Now, I would argue that this sideways period was probably somewhat impacted and informed by the fact that we had a huge crisis here where the world economy shut down. So we had to basically shake off this uncertainty a little bit, and then it had this nice move to the upside. So long as we don't have a black swan this cycle, I still think, and I said this a year and a half ago, that we will likely have something that looks something like this cycle. Shout out to Green Day Profits. We got the gift train running today. Shout out to 5 new members there from Green Day Profits. Shake and Bake, Richard Hecker, Hodari Prowl, who's that say? Paper Planes, what's up? The Dawn Data. I got so many screens, it's hard to see. But big love to you. Shout out to all the members. Shout out to everybody that participates and gifts. You know, givers gain, as Crypto Billy says. And shout out to him. He's out there still in North Carolina, you know, sifting through the damage and helping and trying to figure out what to do there. So big love to the Givers Gain crew there and the Crypto Billy and folks. But we're seeing the same thing right here. The coiling up and then a little bit of a breakout retest launch. We're just now getting that impulse to the upside, so shout out. Bill Brower, what's up? How you doing, my friend? So all things are lining up. It might take a little bit more time, but the market, all the signs and signals we've been waiting on, they're here. This is what it looked like in 2020. Realized cap for new whales. Look at this. This was the push-up leading before the actual market parabolic push-up. What are we seeing right here? Massive uptick right here when we're consolidating at previous all-time highs. And you're wondering, is it going to go? Does it have the ability to go up? The question that a lot of us are having right now, and this isn't the wrong question to have, is how is it going to happen when we're not having stimulus like we had post-COVID? At the same time, we have record low, basically savings. Basically, there's no money in retail. At the same time, we're also having record default rates on debt, high levels of debt, bankruptcy. But this is a cycle, I think, where institutions are going to play a major part, big money as well, because they're starting to see all the signs and signals and the stamps of approval from corporate juggernauts and financial management companies like BlackRock and Fidelity and State Street and Franklin Templeton and Cantor Fitzgerald. They're all giving the green light for Bitcoin, and the seeds are starting to get planted. For you, you've been aware of this for a long time. Most people have not even considered this. This is only now getting really in the zeitgeist of the big money players out there in the world, the corporate strategy of the world. We have fair value accounting. The FASB rules changed. All the things have set up for, I think this is going to be more an institutional cycle than we've seen in the previous cycles. And there's going to be a lot of retail that benefits as well. And all of you, if you're able to front run all these institutions, are going to basically stand to benefit from this. So let's keep our eyes on the prize, because we got a lot of signals right now that are suggesting up. That does not mean we cannot have another washout to the downside. So don't get over leveraged on yourself just because all this data is bullish. This is the type of scenario where so much bullishness comes in, you can have a very catastrophic wick that wrecks some people's lives and absolutely sets other people's futures on fire with profits. It's all about what you're doing right now. So considering that, let's continue on. This is another graphic here of showing the old whales versus new whales. Old whales in orange, or yellow, orange, and new whales in pink. And look at this. This is a lot of that big new money, the corporate money. And some of you, the different players out there actually diving into this market. Shout out to Carla C. $5 super chat said, what are your thoughts on the Coinbase project Moonwell? And can you chart it to see what is a good buy entry? Yeah, we can absolutely pull up Moonwell. Let me put a little favorite on your thing so I just want to be able to, there we go. I just want to be sure to pull that up here in a little bit. And I just got a couple more things to go through. Shout out for the super chat. I appreciate you. Every time you guys gift memberships or super chat, I can't tell you how much I appreciate you. It helps take care of some of the back end people that we have over here and us be able to continue to push into doing more and more content from you all, for you all. I mean, now, so look at this. This is a stacking into the likelihood of upside. When you see big money stacking in before, I mean, this is not even broken out yet. This is not suggesting that we're at a market cycle top. This is suggesting we got some fireworks to come. So let's, again, keep our eyes on the prize. Now, looking here, I just want you to be aware of this. The market is up 6,540% since 1967, but only 600% when you adjust for inflation. Now, why am I sharing this? The reason why I'm sharing this is the only way you can participate in your future without having your time devalued and getting crushed by the misalignment and the poor decision making that we have in our government and the money printing and all that is if you are investing, whether it's in Bitcoin or just general, ETFs and other sort of investments. The thing is, you have to participate in investing if you want to expand your options in the future. Otherwise, no matter what you do, everything you're doing now is just getting devalued into the future. You put $500,000 under your bed because you don't trust banks. Great, you're saving. But if you do that for 15 years, you're going to have basically less than half the buying power than you did the day you started saving it. So what's to do there? The only thing that we can do is consider what are we doing to invest in our future so that we can make sure we can take care of our family, our loved ones, and also that our time is considered valuable. It's the only option. Now, next chart I want to show you, and then we're going to be diving into some charts, and our boy Crypto Danks is going to be popping in here in a few minutes, and that is this. For the third time in 10 years, both the fast and slow RSI are simultaneously in the basically greater than 80% zone on the monthly time frame. Meanwhile, the slow RSI dropped to 77% over the 6-month period after peaking at 73K and is now back above 80%. Okay, let's just zoom out. What does this mean? Let's look at the price action. The black line here is Bitcoin. Okay, we've got this. Now, when we're looking at this, we're looking at the RSI with this green line, slower moving, and then the faster moving is a dotted line right here. Okay. And I want you to, this is essentially what he's outlining is when these have both broken up into this zone, where were we at in the market cycle? It front ran. This is a strength coming in, front running when you have that massive move to the upside. Strength coming in, already had a big move, but was this a top? Well, look how strong the market was pushing up into this, and we got that next move to the upside. Where are we at right now? Very similar. I do think something like this is going to be in the very near future. If you can get behind that, hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, ding the bell, show some love. And again, before we get to our boy Crypto Danks, who's going to be popping in here in a second, make sure you come over to my page, hit that retweet button, hit that like button, show some love, help support this type of crypto content coming to you free every day here on BitLab Academy. And again, if you want to get involved with our trading group, we have a free traders group. It's directly below right here. Let me actually pop this on Twitter as well. But this has all the instruction on it right here. You sign up with the CoinW link. You can use it in US. You can use it the world over. You don't need a VPN. You don't need a KYC. In fact, in many cases, I would recommend that you don't. But again, do not put your entire portfolio. You put the allocation that you want to trade with on there. And we've got an entire trading signals group. It's called Signals Lab with nonstop trade setups, breakdowns throughout there. And it's free to join. Just get involved with us. And let me go ahead and post this there in the comments so you guys have that access to that too on Twitter. Now, coming back over to the charts. What are we seeing right now? Let's actually get a cleaner chart here. Boom. This is the downtrend right here. And look at this. Breakout comes down, retests this downtrend resistance, flipping it to support, actually above it, but it's in line with this horizontal support that we've had all the way that started back here. And let me move this. I believe it's February or March. Yeah, end of February, into March, and then bounce again, then bounce again. Kind of lost it here, but bounced again, rejected all through here, rejected, and now yet again bouncing. This is a strong zone, and we've had this marked out for some time. This came right down in here. Now what's happening is we have this little previous support now acting as resistance, and it's coming into this previous range high. See this price action pushing up into this previous range high. Once we're able to clear up into this, find some support, I do think the next move after that will likely be to the upside. Now, does this mean that this push up, does this mean we're there? Does this mean we're absolutely ripping to the upside from here? Let me also make sure, I'm going to just give me 1 second. I got to send this over to our boy, Danky Boy, just to make sure he has the, I just want to make sure he has the link because it's been a while since he's been on. There we go. I just sent it to you, Danks. Where are we at? So just because the price action is pushing up right here does not mean it's all systems go yet. There's still a case to be made. Maybe we get an Elliott wave where it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and we test down here to the $57,000, $56,000 mark, which I think would upset a lot of people and it would clear a lot of liquidity because we're having a huge, massive amount of open interest right now. Shout out to the 433 people that are tuned in right now. Big love to each and every single one of you. But as it stands right now, I think we got a little bit of work to do. Today, there's a bit of a court case that has to do with the FTX $16 billion. So let's see how that resolves. And we got a lot of big economic stuff and traditional market things going on this week. So let's stay cognizant that anything's possible. But over the within now and the end of November, I mean, I would bet my crypto as a whole that we will be, sorry, I'm just dropping things. We will be moving to the upside. Now, when we could look here at Ethereum, it is underperforming Bitcoin like a mofo. And I think it's a little bit of a dark horse in that I think people think because all these other altcoins that are out there, they're faster, they're more decentralized. This is still the juggernaut in the altcoin space. This is still the platform, the layer one that the majority of the entire crypto ecosystem is built on top of. I still think that Ethereum will outperform more than what people think it's going to do. And the fact that I don't want to even call it suppressed. The fact that, and we can see it if we come up here, if we look, this is what I mean. If we look at the Bitcoin, this is Ethereum to Bitcoin. This shows you all the way since, I mean, really, we could do it right here. December 2021, we had the big move down, come back up, almost triple top here. But this has been losing value as it relates to Bitcoin. It's less and less value. Bitcoin has held its value stronger than Ethereum has. But I don't think the story's over for Ethereum. And in fact, I have to ask somebody because I'm curious what his thoughts are. And that's our boy, Mr. Crypto Danky Danks. Crypto Danks, how you doing? How you feeling?
Man, I'm chilling. Everything good over here on your side, my man?
I had a really great weekend. I hung out with some new friends because I don't really have that, a social circle here in Atlanta because I'm crypto all the time. But it was good. It was refreshing. I did a live stream last night after I probably had a few too many cocktails watching football, but we had to go live. I had Matthew Hyland popping on, Kevin Svensson, and we about 9,000 people tuned in over on Twitter, and the markets. We're setting some things up. So I want to throw it to you. You had a pretty good weekend as well. I know you're over in Santa Monica, I think. Was that correct? But Ethereum.
Yeah, I took the family to Santa Monica. You got to take a break sometimes, man. You got a family, and when we're doing what we do, man, it can get really immersive. It's just part of the nature of the business, and you got to show love to the family. You know what I'm saying? Take a break as well for yourself.
100%. You got to remember to get outside and touch some grass. So I want to keep it on that thread I was just on when you popped in. Ethereum. Do you think people are kind of leaving it out of? I think a lot of people are underestimating what it can do this cycle because it's not performing. What are your thoughts on that? And you can share your screen at any point too. I can pop that up.
Sure. Give me 1 second here. Should share entire screen. Should be good to go. Let me go ahead and just start from a fresh chart. So, let me know when I'm live. We good?
Oh, you good, baby.
Okay, cool. So, screen is shared, all good. And I don't know, I'm watching it on my phone. I don't see it there. Just making sure we're connected there. Oh, there we go. Okay, cool. Gotcha. So this is one thing, right? There's been a lot of negative sentiment, I guess you could say, because a lot of the news is and what people have been saying is that the ETH ETFs has not been taken to as much as or as well as the BTC ETFs. You know what I mean? So that might have a little bit to do on the price suppression. The thing is, I don't necessarily see that as a bad thing because Ethereum is truly a first mover, right? And it's not going anywhere, in my personal opinion. I think that Ethereum is only getting better and better. They're continuing to evolve their ecosystem to make things more efficient. Yeah, they moved from proof of work to proof of stake, but look at how much more that benefits us in its entirety, right? We were paying what? Like, I remember last cycle or even the end of the last cycle, even sometime in the bear market, I was buying NFTs paying $150 gas fees. I was swapping, $2,000 worth of ETH and paying like $300 in gas fees. Now, I don't know if I paid more than $20. You know what I mean? So that goes to show that they're willing to make adjustments and make growth and do things that are, they're not stuck in their old ways, which is something I like to see. Right? You always want to see progression in technology, and some people might say, "Oh, it's a dinosaur. We got Solana this, and now we got Sui popping up, and this and that." But at the end of the day, what are they? What are all of these projects? Like so many projects that are coming out, what are they focused on? Ethereum virtual machine, which means that Ethereum is still the big daddy when it comes to smart contracts, right? Everybody wants to somehow bring Ethereum builders or integrate some interoperability for Ethereum. So when it comes to Ethereum, I don't see anything else but pretty much an upside. Even if we came down and we did have some type of market correction, which still, I believe based off of the TA that I've done on BTC as well in the past, I mean, I still see that we're following very similar. We're following a trajectory that I believe that we're going to end up pumping still a little bit more, but inevitably, I don't know. I just think that we're going to see a dip at some case. All my whale buddies, all my major investors, people in the platform on my end, on my server, I mean, we're all feeling the same way. We're bullish, but we're bearish, right? We're bullish for now. And this is the important thing that I think that you should realize and anyone should understand is that you got to kind of be both at any time and any circumstance, right? Because you can't just be perma bull and you can't just be perma bear, and you got to be willing to switch it up whenever that time comes, right? So I'm gonna pull open the fibs, and we're just gonna start from I mean, I could pull from here. Let me try to pull. If I wanted to pull from here, let's start from here first and see where we're at. So we're just dipped to the 786 there. Let me see if I came a little further back to just this very bottom down here, like somewhere around here, and see where we're at. So, I mean, if we came to the very bottom of this chart here, we are in the golden zone, which is the golden pocket of the Fibonacci, which we've talked about, and I'm sure many of your members know about as well. But this would be the essential major zone if you wanted to pull from the very bottom of the most recent, the most recent pump, and then pull back after the bull run here, the previous bull run. So we're in the golden pocket, right? So this is actually a great time to make some DCAs. I call it a buy zone, right? To get into Ethereum if you haven't, or if you've been on the sidelines. I mean, man, we've seen it up at 4K a couple times, tapping it, and then also in previous cycles. So Ethereum, I believe, is a sleeper, right? This is one, it's funny because it wasn't too long ago. It was when we were, when was this? I think it was probably somewhere around here. I was thinking about, man, I wonder if I just, I don't know if I should say this. I was like, I'm going to sell all my cash, but I'm just going to buy Ethereum, And it's because like I'm looking now I'm really looking for a sure thing. My bags are at a point to where I am not trying to risk, like, I don't care if I'm like almost guaranteed a 10x or 20x or whatever. Like, I want to be guaranteed a 2x. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's kind of where I'm at. And I think that from this price, it's almost a no-brainer that Ethereum is going to be running up to those types of numbers at least $4 to $5 grand. But with more adoption and with more of the, I would say, I guess retail, as well as more of the institutional investors pushing it out to their clients, it's going to make sense for them to invest, right? Because if we go, let me just go here. Fog is something I'm actually looking at in the Solana as a meme coin. You guys know I degen a little bit, right? But if we go and we look at Ethereum, right? It's number 2 in market cap, but it's significantly cheaper than Bitcoin, right? And if these people, these institutional investors, they bring Ethereum on F, which is an extremely big deal, exchange traded fund. If you are not, well versed in the crypto space, and Bitcoin is sitting at 60 something K, and this one fully circulating, all right, at 2,400. I mean, most people naturally, and I was just having this conversation with Honest last night. We were saying finding right now is a great opportunity to find like normie coins on, say, like Coinbase that are like under a penny, right? People just want to invest in the cheaper option because in their mind, they're getting a better deal, right? And actually, essentially, this kind of is in a way a better deal because I believe down the road, we're going to be seeing a 1 trillion plus market cap Ethereum, especially if we get what's called a liquidity injection from the Fed. There could be down the road, not too far from now, maybe Q1, Q2, or throughout next year during the bull run, if we have that particular timing, a 200 basis point cut. And if that happens with a $35 trillion liquidity injection, I mean, the numbers are going to go ballistic across the board, especially for the top 100, 200, and even a lot of small altcoins as well. What do you think about that?
I mean, I agree. I on the one hand, I would hope that everybody would understand tokenomics. On the flip side, that's not how it works. I mean, I still talk to people. Anytime I go out, crypto ends up coming up in conversation, and 9 out of 10 people have no idea that it's not like stocks. You don't have to buy a Bitcoin. You don't have to buy a full Ethereum. You can buy $3 worth, right? And so because of that, people also don't understand the token supply divided by the market cap gives you what the price per unit is, right? And so,
Right.
like you said, people are when retail comes in. I think that's one of the reasons also meme coins do so well. People are impatient. That's just the nature of the world. That's why they say if they came out with a UBI, universal basic income, or if they gave everybody in the world $1 million in 20 years' time, basically all the same people who are the top 1% now will be the top 1% again because of the nature of how you just navigate life and strategies and so on and so forth. So when we do get retail coming in, which we will get, I think once the prices get higher, they're going to think Bitcoin is expensive, not realizing it has an infinite top. There is no real top to where Bitcoin can go over time. You just have to be a little bit patient. They're going to look for something that's 0.00001. And in most people's mind, they're going to say, when this goes to the price of Bitcoin, I'm going to be a billionaire. Well, Shiba Inu is a great example. You cannot go to, I would argue you couldn't even go to 10 cents on Shiba Inu because of what that would mean. That would be like a $25 trillion market cap or something ridiculous. But understanding that, I invest in larger cap coins and I do speculate on smaller market cap coins, but I'm also aware on some plays that I think that I still believe in, that if they are cheaper, when retail does come in, there's going to be, very quick movement in some of those coins. But that's why it's also good to have an exit strategy and a profit taking strategy on those as well, because they'll move up very quickly. And because it's primarily retail that doesn't understand tokenomics, they can move down and crash just as fast.
No, I definitely agree. And yeah, it's true. As much it's funny because I'm so immersed in tokenomics and I'm always dealing with the fundamental aspect of cryptos. But in general, most people are not, right? And that's the thing. And that can lead to an interesting, that's what makes this interesting. Like people still don't understand it. You know what I'm saying? And personally, I think that still means that we are ahead of the game, right? That gives us an advantage. If you're here now, I always say it. If you're here now, today, you're watching Kelly's stream, you're watching my stream, you're in the communities, you're engaging, you're researching, you're so far ahead of so many more people, right? I was just looking at this chart right now, and I was seeing that we're literally bouncing on the weekly off the 200 moving average. And the 200 moving average just started to form at the middle of end of last year, right? So for the weekly, and if you don't know what that means, it's this 200 candlesticks, and it's 200 weekly candlesticks, and we've just started to form that. So actually, we are in a bullish direction on Ethereum overall, given that we are over the 200 moving average and bouncing off of it, using it as support as we did just right here as well, and kind of just trajected straight upward. Now, what do we need next, right? We've seen BlackRock come out and say we're preparing for a 35 trillion liquidity injection. That happens to so be the same amount of debt that we have in the United States, right? So how is all this going to work? Well, the way I see it is, if we do get a massive liquidity injection, which I believe that we will, I mean, eventually, a small percentage of that 35 trillion, which actually isn't really that small when you consider how much money that is, even if it's 3 or 4 trillion, it ends up in high risk assets. And right now, the high risk asset to invest in is cryptocurrency. And right now, the best of those high risk assets to invest in are Bitcoin and Ethereum, as far as most people are concerned. Now, when it comes to the other, all of us, we have a lot of different options, like that we're looking at, and things popping up that are new. And if you see something like Tau that has just gone explosive, it's kind of crazy to see, to be honest with you. If you don't mind, I was going to kind of touch on this because, I have a lot of people talking about like, man, I put a buy alert and we were DCing into Tau at about $240, like under 300, all the way down to 225. And some people just didn't do it, you know what I mean? And then some people took profits too early, you know what I mean? Or some didn't get in. The thing is this, is the market is always going to give you an opportunity to make money in one way or another. Just don't try, not financial advice, but I would definitely try not to FOMO. You want to look for better opportunities, things that are going to make that makes sense, right? When you're buying at the top, it just doesn't make sense. Like for me, honestly, like if I'm looking to get into Ethereum, this is a really great price personally, and we haven't been this price besides until last year on the run up, right? So we've seen that we have been using the 1.8 as a major support level, and that's telling me something. I bet if we run it back, let me see it, we probably have that support back here as well. If I can maybe even pull it back here, let's see here. Yeah, we bounce off here, we even use it all up in here as well. I mean, it does wick down, support, resistance. So this is a key level that I would be definitely looking at as possibly not going to break. And that is something of a price point. I think it's being slept on. I really, really do. What about you? Do you think that we are actually going to get this more positive sentiment over time? Or do you think that, is there even a chance that the ETF could just go away and then that could just completely disappear? I mean, what do you know
No,
about that?
I think two things about it. Ethereum ETF, I think, is getting a bad rap because it launched, several months after the Bitcoin ETF, and it launched when crypto in general was consolidating. So the uber sort of bullish appetite was it got more uncertain. We saw that also in the stock market. We saw it, although we obviously had a major push up in S&P 500. We did see a pretty big drawdown that then, of course, is now set up to break to new highs. But I think the uncertainty led investors away from, really piling into the Ethereum ETF. However, we're also seeing these other baskets start to, different indexes going out. Like Franklin Templeton just launched the Bitcoin Ethereum joint ETF, where you're getting exposure to both. And I think that's going to be a story that continues on. And I think as appetite comes back into the market, I think the Ethereum ETF is going to do just fine. And I do think once Bitcoin does break out, and I still think it will, whether it's this month or next month being into new all-time highs, I think we'll very quickly, as we push up above 85,000, also start seeing Ethereum like it has in previous cycles. Bitcoin signals risk is back on, then that risk starts to flow into Ethereum, and we're already seeing a little bit different structure this time in terms of the capital flow within the markets. But we're seeing some altcoins right now: Sui, Fetch, Aerodrome. What else? Near Protocol. There's Tau. We're starting to see risk come into some of these assets, and maybe because a lot of these are either tied to BlackRock or they're tied to the AI narrative. But we're starting to see it's almost like the altcoin markets, in some ways, parts of the altcoin market are kind of acting on their own right now. So I do think that it's hard to look in the past and then look to the future and compare all things same in kind, because there is a basic level of maturity that's coming in and awareness of broader market options that traditional finance legacy systems, things like Ondo, which are tokenizing U.S. treasuries. And I think we're in for a slightly different cycle in how that capital flow comes in. But I think that this is going to be, I think the altcoins are going to absolutely change some lives. And my question is going to be, when we go into this next administration, do they soften some of the approach to what we see with altcoins, or does it get more difficult? And I think that's where some of the uncertainty is lying in the broader altcoin market. But I do think over time, all that's going to be cleared up.
Yeah, I agree. That's very interesting that you mentioned the BTC ETH, like the combo, if you will. I think that is something that can really be something that will help evolve both together over time. You mentioned Ondo. Now, I have a thesis, a theory. Ondo, big, probably the biggest number one RWA play that pretty much everybody knows about and everybody's following. And also the price point doesn't seem to be too bad. Actually, it really isn't, at sitting around over 1 billion market cap, 1 point something billion market cap. It's actually a great price for the potential that it has. One thing I will say is that we do have these unlocks. Now, if you're not familiar, we were talking about tokenomics. Maybe we'll just dive a little bit deeper. If you don't mind, Kelly, I might dive a little bit just to kind of give a little scratch on the surface of what we're looking at here. Now, when we're talking about unlocks, it's literally meaning, like, let me go back here and then we can go and check Ondo real quick. And you can see that Ondo right now, the circulating supply is 1.3 billion out of 10 billion, which means it's basically 13% circulating, right? So if that's the case, the way this works down the road, or every single day rather, with Ondo, is this supply, this allocation that you see on my screen, is what's being unlocked to move this 1.3 billion up to 1.4, 1.5, then 2 billion, then 3, then 4, then 5. But that happens over time. And that's what we're talking about when we're talking about tokenomics and unlocks and stuff like that. So what's interesting about Ondo is they unlock a very, very small percentage of their supply every single day. Now they're doing that all the way until January 18th, I believe it is. Look, it's still the same, 0.001%, or basically 40K of the current market cap. Now, once we hit, and I'm sure people know this, some don't, once we hit January 18th, okay, of 2025, they stop the daily unlocks, and they have one massive unlock of 19.4% of the max supply. That's $1.43 billion worth of the supply, which is 134% of the current today's market cap, right? So these are the things that you need to be aware of and be following, right? Now, all that money, once we get up to that point, people that know about this, It's either there's gonna be a lot of people selling in anticipation of this because but then you go deeper, right? Well, what is ecosystem growth? What is protocol development? The private sells, I'm sure those are private equity investors or seed buyers. These might get sold off 25% of that allocation of that 1.43, right? It's like, what is that? $300 million, right? Community access sell, not too much. So really, is it going to get dumped out? We don't know, but it's something you need to be aware of. Now, one thing is this is not the only RWA play. There are some sleepers out there that I recommend you taking a look at as far as altcoins, because eventually, now this market cap is going to reach to a point where people are going to take profits and they're going to want to roll into another RWA play that hasn't seen this massive upside growth yet. So I would be looking out for some of those. I have some in the back pocket. If you want to hear about it, I'm more than happy to just share it. But let me know, and
Of course,
I'm
yeah,
open
share
to that.
away. But before we move
Okay.
on to that, because you're talking about unlocks and other stuff, I'd love it if you could pull up the SUI chart, and also talk a little bit, I don't know if you're following any of the tokenomics that's going on there, because it's about to break to new all-time highs. But there's also I think we're in the middle. If it hadn't just happened, it might be about
They
to. I can't
just
remember.
I think they had one just the other day, if I'm
Yeah.
not mistaken. Here, let me go to vesting here. So what do you do? So let me just start back from the beginning. So we'll go to SUI. So I use CryptoRank.io personally. There's another one. I forget the name of it. I've used it before. You want to go to vesting. Okay. Now, when you get into vesting, a lot of this actually comes from the fundraising. These fundraising are actually like the seed investors, the token sale. You'll see like these types of vesting. So the fundraiser, well, let's look at the fundraisers first. Actually, let's see who invested in SUI from ground level. Okay, we've got the IEO, we have the launch pool on Binance, we've got KuCoin Spotlight. Let's see. So Series A and Series B, these are the two major investors that came in and really injected liquidity into this launch, right? So these are some pretty heavy hitters right here. And then we see the next round coming in a little under a year: FTX, Binance, Circle, Coinbase Ventures. Believe me, and Andreessen Horowitz, which is very popular as well. You can even go deeper. I'm not going to go too much deeper. You can click on them. It'll show all of their investments, how well they've done, etc. Right? But when you see these companies like Coinbase, Circle, Binance, Harvard's, even FTX, Lightspeed, these are major companies that are investing, and they're not taking an L. I'm telling you that right now. And there's a reason why they're already listed on Coinbase, is because they invested in them, right? So now we go over to vesting. So now we kind of have an idea of who invested in the beginning on Series A and Series B. Now they've unlocked 6%. They still have 1% there. It's not too bad. And they've done about half of their Series B. So let's go ahead and scroll down here. Now this is kind of like a linear chart that shows the month by month over an annual period of time. It looks like the unlocks finish at the end of 2/5/2030 for the, let's see, that was TGE. Yeah, stakes. Okay, cool. So November 3rd. Yeah, so I guess we had one October 3rd. Yeah, so we had one October 3rd. So it's looking like November 3rd. And if it's the same, I'm not sure. I think we can look at previous unlocks past. Here we go. So October 3rd, we did have 0.84% of the supply. Now, let's look at the chart, okay, on October 3rd and the run up to it. Now, remember, they unlocked two community reserves, okay, 1%, 2% stake subsidies, Series A and B, the same 2.78. It's over almost 5.5% or so, and then early contributors. So of these, you got to think: are they going to sell off, and is it going to be even that big of a deal? Right? Is demand versus supply? Is there more demand of the supply being sold off? If so, then it doesn't matter. Well, as we've seen, and as we can pull open October 3rd here, I mean, We did have a dip, okay? I expected that, right? We did have a dip on the day. Now, even early that morning, I was kind of wondering what's going to happen here. And we did kind of, okay, so the way the candlestick works is you can see that it actually started off green because it went up here first, and then it got suppressed and pushed down, another down here. So how much do we lose? Let's just say from the start of that wick of that candle down to the actual close, about 11%, right? So a lot of people, and this is not advised. I think this is more of if you're buying and you're trying to hodl this one, I would say just DCA into it and try to get more on these dips. But some people that are good at trading or spot trading or futures trading or whatnot take advantage of these. If you run back over the history, let's go over to September 3rd. What happened then? So we're at September 3rd, right? That was the last unlock. September 3rd, same amount, right? So let's go to SUI. September 3rd, boom, boom, boom. Okay, here we go. So really not too bad. This is an 8-hour chart. Actually, let me just do the daily here. Where are we at? September, July, September 3rd. Okay, here we go. September 3rd. First, second. I mean, it looks like it pretty much broke even for the day. Pushed up on the second, moved over. It actually went up that day, which is interesting, and came down and created this very, very thin, very thin candlestick. But, you could keep looking back and going back and back and back to try to see over a certain amount of time what more frequently happens, and then try to make a decision off of that. To me, SUI this is one thing I want to ask you, brother, is what is pumping SUI so hard? I mean, it's kind of insane to see, because I mean, I don't know I mean, I know there's some meme coins on there that are doing pretty well. Like there's this one called Blub and stuff like that. I'm just wondering, like, is this just like mass FOMO going in? I mean, we've seen, think about
I
it, over the
think it's a
last
little bit
month.
of FOMO because people are seeing it pump and it's pumping while a lot of the market isn't. And the other thing is, I think it's the shiny new thing, in that the market cap is a hell of a lot smaller than Solana, and there's all this press that's going out right now with coverage from different crypto content creators that are showing that the transaction speed and the fee structure, people are saying, "Oh, this is the next Solana." So I think there's kind of a little bit of the two things. But then also remember, you just brought up something critical that I don't think a lot of people take into close consideration often enough, and that was those investors early on. FTX Ventures, okay, they're not going to be a major impact now, but Coinbase Ventures, Binance, Andreessen Horowitz, the right players are behind it. That also gives confidence to when corporations come in or they're seeking counsel from other major players in the space, like people that are on the team of those different crypto corporate, basically top crypto corporate players. And they say, oh, okay, well, Circle, they have the right people behind it that they can usher money into it. It gives confidence in a way. But then we're also seeing these massive green candles, and everybody, I think, is trying to stack into what they think is going to do well. And if something's doing well now before the market's really let loose, the idea is maybe this is going to perform incredibly once the market really goes parabolic.
Yeah, what's interesting is that, again, you can dive in. Circle being a very, very popular venture, capitalist, and also the maker or the developer of USDC. They have a heavy foot, they have a heavy hand in the market. I mean, just look at the projects they've invested in: Near, Sui, Aptos, Say, KuCoin, Layers. I mean, all of these big time, and the list goes on and on and on, right? Especially of these very successful ones. So just that alone, and then I pop back, and then you want to look at, let's say, Andreessen Horowitz, right? So You can look at the portfolio. And that's what I think is very interesting. Go look at their portfolio and see how well they've done and see what coins they've invested in and they've had their hand in, right? Ethereum, Solana, XRP, AVAX, Near, Sui. You know, I mean, these are some heavy hitter plays, you guys. So this is telling me that I would even be looking at what they're investing in coming forward. So now we're moving from a little bit of that tokenomic talk. Look at where tokenomics can take you. Tokenomics can take you to a future investment you didn't even know was there, right? So down the road, you might be looking at, hey, like what's this company up to? What's Horowitz up to? What's Coinbase Ventures up to? Oh, they just invested $3 million into this startup. Like, let me see what's up with
Hey,
that, right? And then
Aerodrome's a great example. They've Coinbase Ventures dropped 100 million on the open market buying Aerodrome back in February, and that was when it was
that's
like
right.
15 or 18 cents, and now it's what, $1.30 or something like that.
Yeah, I think so. So, I mean, that goes to show Arizona and then ZK Sync, they just got a Coinbase listing, right? You know, it's funny, and this is the nature of the game, right? We got Coinbase Ventures, they got Coinbase, the platform. They're investing. I mean, I'm sure majority of the projects they invest in end up on their platform. It is like the golden strategy. Imagine having Coinbase and Coinbase Ventures and the ability to list, right? But you know, that is something to look forward to and look out for because these companies, Pantera is a big one, Polychain's a big one, Dragonfly. Look, Alameda Research is still in there, right? And you can go down the rabbit hole. I encourage you, you know, the ones that are here, you guys, I know that you like to take a look deeper into the chain and deeper into what's going on into the crypto space. Go to cryptorank.io and thumb around a little bit. It is unlike any other site that's out there as far as going deep into investing, fundraising, unlocks, and so on and so forth. So I think though, what I was going to say is as far as RWA plays, I have two that I think are sleepers personally. There's one called Polytrade. I might have mentioned it before. I'll bring it up over here. So this project and none of this financial advice. Look, I don't care what you do with your money. I want you to do something smart with it. But at the same time, it's a very small market cap. You got to be careful. But it's been in the game for a while, all right, seeing the end of the last bull run. However, what's interesting is they've actually got a full marketplace and they're partnered with MasterCard and their lead advisor is Sandeep Nawal from Polygon, right? This is a Polygon RWA play. All right. So when you add all of that together, and people are starting to find and look for other opportunities that are in this space. I mean, you can literally look. I have an account on their platform. I literally invested into like $1,000 bottle of wine through RWA, right? They had their marketplace. I don't know if I have to log in or anything like that, but you can just take a look here. They have all of these different options. They've got literally luxury. I mean, they've got diamonds. I mean anything. I mean literally you can invest in anything, sneakers. So it's a very unique platform, and these are the types of avenues that people are going to be taking as far as starting these RWA projects and developing them. But this, I'm going to tell you now, this RWA narrative has a lot of regulation, and it's not easy to even get to this point, right? To this point, they're at 20 million market cap. I believe it's highly, highly likely that this is going to see some pretty nice numbers. And this is actually my RWA play of this upcoming cycle. I mean, look, you got what is a Pokemon card, you know what I mean? So anything from bottles of liquor to Pokemon cards to diamonds to gold to nickel, whatever it is. And then there is one more. And also, I will say, since I'm covering it, I will say this. I will show you one thing that I've noticed with trade. It's trade is the ticker. um, with trade, it actually has a floor that I haven't seen it break, which is just about right where this blue line is. It's about 49 cents. It's broken it a little bit here, but pretty much like even like right around here, I would say under 50, anything around 50 cents as a great buy or a DCA down. And look, these are super high risk asset. I would say just small percentage of your bag, because if this does anything significant, 10x, 100x, which would take it to 2 billion. I mean, what is it? You put $1,000, you make 100 grand. You know what I mean? If it does those numbers. And the reason
I'm
why
gonna
I
add this.
mentioned
I'm gonna add
this,
this to my portfolio. I mean, I'm thank you for putting it on our radar. And I do want to say I pulled this up on CoinMarketCap, and I think this is interesting. There's 160,000 people that have this on their watch list, which is a
yeah,
pretty good indication that they're not just some small thing that nobody's aware of. There's a lot of people paying attention to this. And if you all are wondering where you can get it, when you're on these types of things like CoinGecko, CoinMarketCap, you click here on markets, Uniswap, Gate.io, Bitfinex, KuCoin, MEXC. This is where you can go and pick it up.
definitely. It is a Polygon token, but it's multi-chain, right? So you can see here, like if you are a DeFi person, I do a lot of decentralized exchange swapping on DEXs, so I will look. But also, I have the ability to purchase pretty much on any exchange that I'd like. I prefer to use CoinW when I can. They just have the best fees, and they also, in my opinion, they have a really great structured spot platform as well as futures. So I like using them. And also, like when it comes to trading, like I've seen some funny business go on lately, especially with Maxi personally. I mean, I don't know what's going on, but every time I put like a really large futures order, when I say really large, I mean like 10K plus, right? It feels like I'm getting traded against, and I don't experience that on CoinW. So I'm starting to go more and more and more to CoinW and just not even mess with the coins that are on some of these other exchanges. That's just me. I'm just throwing that out there. But yeah, like he said, you can just obviously go to any of these exchanges, Mexi, KuCoin, Bitfinex, Gate.io, and swap or and make your purchases there. And then one other one, which I know is already on your radar, and I do have a AMA that I did with the team somewhere deep in my history. This is also a 20 mil market cap, and it's Swarm Markets. All right, Swarm Markets is a little bit different, but very, very similar in many regards. Excuse me, let me get some water here.
Yeah, Swarm is one of those ones. I think I put it on our community's radar a couple months ago, and it's down a little bit right now. But that's from when we bought it. But that's okay. I think when these things swing, when they swing back to the upside, it's going to be fierce. And Swarm they're one of the first that had some pretty major financial regulatory licenses out of all the RWAs that are out there. And I think they're based, I could be wrong, I think they're based in Singapore or something like that. But huge players are behind Swarm Markets as well.
Absolutely. Chainlink, as well as Polygon and a few others. Now, I want to ask you though, I'm curious because I've always been curious about this. Do you see value in tokenizing stocks and bonds?
I do, because, and I think it is going to go that direction because of the 24/7 nature and the immediate liquidity that you have when you have a blockchain tokenized asset platform. My question is going to be though, is that going to create it's not going to happen overnight, but as the markets move that direction and things start to become tokenized, I think there's going to be a pretty big issue with not just a dark pool theory, but when basically having
What's the dark pool theory?
dark pools are like all this stuff that's traded that's not even recognized on exchanges. So you're not actually seeing what's happening, and it happens currently with stock market. But the problem is once we start tokenizing stuff, I worry that there's going to be doubles or triples. There's going to be a period before it's fully tokenized that it's going to be hard to account the one-to-one sort of backing of stuff, versus it. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think that can get very complicated and messy, but that's where regulation has to step in. I mean, these RWA projects are much heavier regulated than any other cryptocurrencies on the market just due to its nature. Um, you know, Yeah, I mean, I understand where you're going with that, but at the same time, we just have to wait and see. You know, I don't know if that's going to actually be a major issue. Maybe they're able to somehow keep that from happening, but for now, we haven't seen it, unless you have. But you know, it's interesting what they have going on, and I just, you know, I'm curious to see, like, and you actually bring a very good point with the 24/7 market and the liquidity depth. So yeah, these are interesting ones. I mean, I haven't seen any other that really grabbed my eye. Personally, trade I am super bullish on, and then I just have like maybe one or two AI plays, and then I got a couple others, and that's about it. I mean, I've got a lot of other things on my watch list, but a lot of it's just to trade. You know, I think the number one DeFi play for me is Aave. Definitely looking to try to add more under the 140, 130, maybe even around the $100 price range if we still get it. But this one, why I like Aave, if you don't know what it is, it's a DeFi lending protocol. So you can get DeFi lending protocol, so decentralized finance lending, right? Where you can literally get a loan in cryptocurrency. Well, what's going on with people right now in the world? This is where I try to think. What's going on with people in the world today? Most people are struggling financially. Now, if they have the ability to put up some type of collateral or whatever it is that Aave requires to give them a loan, well, if you can get a loan in crypto and Aave is providing it, well, I think that you would be able to take advantage of that if that's something that you need. And I think a lot of people are looking in that direction, and that might be a reason why we've seen a pretty heavily uh, heavy price surge in Aave in the recent, just this year alone. I mean, we've moved pretty significantly. Let's just move from, I guess, 2024 right around here in February to now almost 100% and 130 at the top, 87%. So I'm looking at things that are needed, right? Are needed. Like another thing is AGI. It's a sleeper. It's not on a tier one. This is a project that's 200 million market cap. We're talking AI agents, right? Something that can actually be useful. You can literally duplicate yourself as an artificial intelligence AI bot, and all of the things that you do, it can copy you, and I can have one AI agent running my Discord and literally mimicking me, and running another one running my Telegram, another one, and so on and so forth. So these are things that I'm also looking at, AGI, Delicium, as an AI play, because everyone's focused on these big caps, Tau, Ondo, so on and so forth. But I'm always looking for the one that they're going to roll those profits into, because that's where the money's going to really come for me. On top of it, I will be doing the same thing as well, right? So, I mean, it's funny because you don't see the entire chart on CoinMarketCap, but this is actually a fairly bullish chart, and I've been getting in and DCAing from this 10 cent all the way up to now, so I even added more today. I put a buy alert out, but these are things that I'm looking at. It's things that I think could be needed down the road, or even in the very near future. This AI agent network, once people really get a grasp on how to develop and actually utilize these things, there's going to be a use case for them, and they're going to find a way. Autonomous AI agents trained on Web3 data, empowered with an extended toolkit of on-chain and off-chain interactions, right? So that literally means that it's going to be able to do whatever you want, on-chain, off-chain. Lucy is their AI-powered Web3 ops systems. I'd say mess around with that as well, and look for things that are going to be useful. I think that meme coins are great too, but at the end of the day, what is going to last? What is going to go the distance, right? It's hard to tell, but if you can find projects that are able to sustain, I mean, even though this chart looks this way, we're still sitting at 176 million market cap with with $14 million volume on the daily, right? Which is 8%. That is a really nice volume for such a high market cap on a project that's listed on only a few small exchanges besides, say, KuCoin, maybe even Mexi, right? So yeah, I thought I'd just throw a couple your way and just tell you how I'm thinking, and that's kind of where I'm at. Yeah, I know our plays are very different, you and I. It's interesting. I've been looking more into near and also the Constellation DAG. I think you're really onto something there with Constellation DAG. It's almost a no-brainer in my opinion.
Well,
So
did you see the, let me pull this up really quick before we go. Because I just saw this the other day and I mean, it just blows my mind. Let's see. I posted it right here. Breaking: China hacked backdoors created. These are backdoors that were created by the United States government and is basically used to spy on the U.S. Blockchain just became mission critical. Back in August, Constellation DAG had a meeting with the Office of Undersecretary of Defense to provide a briefing on Iron Spider, our secure peer-to-peer interoperable data resilience. They're already working with the Department of Defense, U.S. Air Force, U.S. Space Force, partner with IBM, Panasonic, and we're seeing hacks that just never stop, from the 2.9 billion records that were lost from the government to what we saw with CrowdStrike. I think, this probably has the best opportunity to get integrated. And it's got like, I think it's like an $80 million market cap. So yeah, I've been stacking into this. We were partners for several months. Now I just continue, I like them because of the fundamentals of what they have and what they're building into. And yeah, near, I'm super bullish on near Avalanche. I'm going to be adding some poly trade to my portfolio. I'm going to have to move stuff around today to get into that. But yeah, it was great stream and great tidbits that you shared, and even the breakdown also of tokenomics. Sometimes even myself, we get a little too focused on price, where price can go, but what are the impacts of the back end fundamentals and the tokenomics of assets and what's going on? Looking into the different corporations or the different money players who are investing in these things can give you a good idea of how plugged in they are and how likely they are to, see other major growth milestones or partnerships. So really great stuff. You got anything else you wanted to wrap out with today, my man? Did I lose you? I think I lost him. But everybody, I think that's it for today's show. Make sure you're giving Crypto Danks a follow. It's right here at Crypto Danks X. Make sure you give him a follow. And again, everybody, I love you. I appreciate you. Make sure you come over to my page right here. Remember, we do a giveaway once a week. Sometimes it's a few giveaways. Sometimes it's only one. But we draw them on Friday, and we basically take all of you that are helping pump out the love, sharing this with your friends and family on Twitter here, hitting that retweet, hitting that like button, getting it out. But everybody, I hope you have an absolutely wonderful day. The markets, everything's getting so close. It looks like we're starting to get a little bit of a reversal. We had a little bit of a drawdown here on Bitcoin throughout the stream on a very, very, very small time frame. But this looks like it's starting to have a little bit of a trying to get that uptick. But we're seeing some, let's just go through some of these very quickly. We got Ethereum, getting a little bit of a bounce here. Let's go to the 2-hour chart, actually. This is, if this can round out and actually start making that leg to the upside, that would be excellent. Link breaking through. This is that downtrend that we had here, starting to break through this. We're seeing Avalanche also. They're all looking very similar. Look at the structure here. Look at the structure on Avalanche. Look at Ondo holding on to this line. If we can hold this line and start pushing up, it's going to be great. Near actually breaking out of this zone. Look at this nice rounding, a little bit of a bull flag here, a little bit of pullback, starting to break past this range. We really want to see near break above 554 for it to start having a major move to the upside. Cardano, not really yet getting that win that we want as bulls, but I do think this will have his day in the sun. Atom also looking very similar to Cardano. Doge, I'm sorry. Look at how similar all three of these charts look. So similar. Swap having a little bit of a pullback. Tau. Tau has just been ripping to the upside. Golly, this is just, I'm so happy that I stacked in and gave you guys the down low on Tau a couple of months back. DAG, remember, downtrend, setting a base, breaking out, still giving you opportunity here. BNB, just sideways consolidation here. Once we can basically break above this 615 area, I think we're going to see some very bullish price action. Same thing with DOT, sideways consolidation here. Once we start to break out, it's going to be good. Stacks, Also, sideways consolidation. There's very similar things going on in a lot of different altcoins in the charts right now, but I'm very bullish on what's coming up here in this market. It just takes a little patience. We're just now ending the first week of October. We know what we saw last year, first about 9-10 days of October, and it resulted in an absolute incredible bullish price action. We're coming into that election season. I think regardless, even if we had a little bit more of a pullback in October, I do think November we will be seeing higher prices. But that's all I got for you today, everybody. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, ding the bell. We're going to be running over now to Blockchain Basement. So let's go over there and drop a bunch of lab coats and say BitLab's here. We'll see you there. Adios, everybody. So have a wonderful day. Thank you again to Crypto Danks coming on. We lost him, but I love him. It's all good. Adios.